Let's click on go, please. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right. First, an apology for two different style issues. The first one being that I'm quite fond of using hyperboles and exaggerations. And the second one is, yeah, I have to do this presentation sitting down. And if I see my teachers and I do that all the time, that is good for, say, a leave conversation. Good afternoon. My name is René Wellen, and I'm head of Supreme College Nederland. It's an innovative school in the rather conservative landscape of secondary education. And I thought that was quite a challenging remark, but fortunately this morning and also this afternoon, I've seen presentations endorsing that statement. It is conservative because probably just like in other countries, yes. Well, this used to be the classroom, let's say 100 years ago. You might recognize this. This is what a secondary school also could look like. The kids are a bit younger, but if I look at, let's say, modern education, you can often see, or you can come across teaching rooms and classes like this. And true, there are some innovations and some new items there. These students have wonderful uniforms. We don't have such a thing in the Netherlands. And we have smart boards that we work with. And the students often work with laptops or any other devices that they write on. And actually, that is changing again because really true innovations we fear sometimes in education. So because of AI, we start returning to pen and paper for our students. Something about my own timetable. I would say in 1974, when I was a kid, I went to secondary school. This is what it was like. And I found a couple of exercise books in my attic somewhere. And I looked through them and I saw myself keeping track of minutes passing by. I was bored to the back seat, and the only light at the end of the tunnel was PE at the end of the day. Because then I could actually do something instead of listening to other people, to the teachers. If you look at society nowadays and what our students go through, actually they've been through much more information and things that come at them before breakfast. If you compare it to my situation in 1974, in a week or perhaps even a month, I had my, besides school, I had my football, played football for fun. I was interested in listening to music, so I looked at the bands that I was interested in, and I discovered there were girls around. And that was basically it. If you compare it to nowadays, there's so much more that they have to go through, have to deal with, by the way. If I ask my daughter, she's a bit older now, but she said, yeah, I have 100 WhatsApps before, let's say, 8 o'clock. And I had nothing of the kind nowadays. So that's why I was bold enough to start my abstract with the statement, when do experienced school leaders start to realize that the brains of our students are not geared for 6 or even 7 classes a day anymore? Ask them at the end of the day, what did you do with the first lesson? They probably don't have a clue. Or it must have been very, very important, I don't know, but this is how things work. So, in my view, and fortunately a number of colleagues, change was and is necessary. Because I don't know about your country, but in my country, I think 95% of the schools still have 4, 5, 6 lessons a day. Some 5 years ago, I was still vice principal at a big secondary school in Castricum, that's 20 minutes from Amsterdam on the coast of the Netherlands. It's an affluent part of the country. And it has nothing to do with, by the way, being vice principal, but as a vice principal, my job was education. let's say, for the whole school. And it was or it still is, a bilingual school. And I've always been teaching one class at least in my capacity, even as a vice principal, or nowadays as a principal. And I was able to teach in the let's say the top classes, the top two classes of VWO, which is a pre-university school, and it was year 5 and 6, so just before they enter university. And as a Dutch school, we are allowed, there's only one subject of the International Baccalaureate organization that we are allowed to teach, namely English, as a bilingual school. So we teach the regular pre-university VWO program, and only for English we are allowed to teach the International Baccalaureate program. And I was allowed to teach that, and every time I was teaching these students, I saw them take a huge, well, at least a noticeable step in their development. So after a couple of years, even I started to realize, steps sank in, it must be something to do with that particular program. So I went to the head of the school, the principal, and I said, why do we start this only in the second to last year? We should start this in their third year or in their second year. And not only for English, but for all the subjects, because these students not only improved for English, obviously, but also for math, also even for Dutch. So something triggers. I said, why don't we start in year 2 or year 3 of secondary school? She said, you're completely right, excellent idea, but you're never going to make it. Because this school is far too big, we have 200 teachers. How can you ever change in one go, in one big paradigm change, actually? She said, why don't you start your own school? Wow, that was an amazing idea, because I said, okay, let's do it. So I went to another big secondary school, also in Kassel, and I explained my ideas to them, and they also said, well, you might be right. So let's work together, and as a joint venture, let's start Supreme College Nederland as a new approach to learning, approach to teaching. Okay, I got the chance to pick 8 other teachers, because we were teaching 9 subjects. We were going to teach 9 subjects. I had the chance to pick 8 other teachers. Of course, I picked the ones that I thought suited best this program. And I told them we got together somewhere in September or October before the year actually started. And I said, what do we want to change? We've got the clean table. What are we going to change? And actually, almost everything. The first thing was, okay, wait, we're not going to start again with so many subjects on one day. We're going to start in morning and afternoon sessions. So we start teaching at 8:45 to 12 o'clock English, and then from 1:45 to 4 o'clock math. And the next day, same thing. And the next day, same thing. And not only sometimes one subject, but also interdisciplinary subjects. So we had to look. First, I had to look at the length of a lesson, and that really matters to teachers, because how on earth can you talk for 3 hours? We have to live through sessions like this when somebody's talking to you for 20 minutes, and that's a long time. So for students of 14, 15 years old, you can't talk for more than a quarter of an hour. So the contents of the lesson also had to be adapted, not to teacher-driven materials, and you as a speaker know inquiry-based learning was the way to teach. So in other words, big assignments which students really could dig into. Assessment needed to be different, because if you are a teacher and you have your students for 3 hours in front of you, you see. At the other big school, at a certain point, I gave the teachers the opportunity to follow a class for a whole day, not to judge the other teachers, but just see what does a student go through, what does he have to live through if you follow a student for the whole day. And one of the teachers had a very heartbreaking story. He said, I've seen wonderful classes, good lessons, well prepared by the teachers, But I've also seen in that same class, 7 or 8 students, most of them in the back of the class, they never asked a single question. Teacher didn't ask them a single question. They haven't made any remarks. They haven't been seen all day. And you can trust me on this, not a single student wants to be not seen. So that is one of the biggest differences. We know now what is going on in the minds of the students. If one is not feeling too well, we see it and we talk about it. So we see the students, they have a new kind of assessment, much less summative, but much more formative. Because as a teacher, within one lesson, you know the whole class. You know every face, every name. Another advantage over having 6 or 7 classes a day when you have to learn and hope that you learn the names by half October. We have the students at school for such a long time, from 4 to 4 o'clock, with a few breaks, obviously. We want let's say the school day to be over, especially in the lower forms, because we can do a lot of work at school with the students, and that means that we don't have to give them extra work to do at home, because they've been much more into the lessons. There have been so far, we've been working for 4 years now, there have been no teacher-child issues, no teacher-student issues so far. And I can assure you, in the Netherlands, the students are just like the tourists, the Netherlands people, they are having loud mouths. You hear them coming from a long way distance. All this needs leadership, not from me as the school leader, but also from the teachers and the students. And the first thing that you need as a school is a good school mission. The mission of Supreme College that we always stick to is that Supreme College stands for education of the future in a close-knit international environment for students who want to have a positive impact on their world and the world of others. So it's not just our own thing that we look into, but also make sure that you involve other people. The second important thing was, when I selected well, we had to talk with the 8 teachers who all wanted to come. We first started with say a collaborative and collective workshop somewhere in Berlin for a whole weekend that we worked on how to make a good unit plan. What exactly do we need does this type of education need from us? And that, let's say, set out the track to intensely and intensively working together, collaboration. Every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 5 o'clock, we get together, we come together as teachers and staff, and we work on our own unit plans, on a statement of inquiry, and we present to each other. So it's also co-creation. Is my statement of inquiry, is it sharp enough? Is it lucid enough for the students? So we comment on each other's work. And that is one of the key elements. We work together there, we collaborate. Now, by the way, 28 teachers, hardly a full-time job for anybody, but they all come to this meeting. And very important, also the plenary sessions, but very important, there are no other meetings at school. So everything that we need to discuss and work with, we do that on Tuesday afternoon from 2:30, till 5 o'clock. And everybody knows this. So no extra meetings on Thursday, or Friday, or Monday, or Wednesday. And we can do that at that time. If I want to know how things are going and how what questions teachers might have. And so I do classroom visits for, let's say, half an hour or let's say 3/4 of an hour. And afterwards we talk about it. What did I see? And what we work on, what I talk to them about is the Supreme Learner Profile. And this is based on the, this is based on the profile, thank you, the International Learner Profile, but we've tweaked it a little bit. This is for students. You have to be a risk taker. You have to develop yourself in risk taking. So you approach unfamiliar situations with confidence. You try new things and you come up with new ideas. You are bold and you know what you stand for. Okay, but vitally different from the international learner profile is that we also have a Supreme Learner profile for teachers. And if you have the same, if you look at the same attributes, risk takers, okay, for the teacher it means you suggest new ideas and you show the ability to step outside your comfort zone. You take on challenges and don't let circumstances get in the way. You dare to experiment in your teaching and make informed decisions, and you actively participate in joint projects. So teaching at Supreme College also, and it's there, we have made this together with the teachers, it involves an active student teacher participation. And actually, that means that when I have a new job opportunity for, let's say, 1 day or 1.5 days a week, I tell the teachers, okay, it's a bit jokingly, but it's a serious undertone. You want to come to Supreme College? Okay, you've got to work twice as hard for the same amount of money. And if a student has an insufficient mark, it's your fault. Want to come? Yes, they say. But that is responsibility for the teacher, and that is what they love taking on. I am responsible for my students, how they learn. And the result is, by the way, that for very difficult job opportunities for, let's say, the Dutch language, everywhere around the Netherlands, people cannot get teachers for the Dutch language. It's very difficult. But I had 2 applicants. They were very good because of the way we give the responsibility and we allow for creativity and time for the teachers at our school. I say you have to work twice as hard and you have to do that work at home, not at school. At school, it is easy going. But you have to plan your lessons very, very well, because 3 hours of, let's say, English, you have to plan that session really well. And actually, you have to plan that session for a couple of weeks. So that is the hard work at home. At school, it is quite completely different. I had a young teacher, 29 years old, teaches economics, and he was down with long COVID. And fortunately, he has recovered because of Supreme College, by the way, because what he said was, if I teach at the mother school, we just talked about, if I teach there, at the end of the day, my energy level has gone down. But if I teach at Supreme College, at the end of the day, my energy level has gone up, because I don't have to worry about the students. I only have to help them carry on and find new ways to learn economics. And this is what I see, and this is what the students also see. We had a big evaluation, let's say, research done at the school by 2 different parties, by the way, extra school. So they were not from the school, but from the university in Amsterdam. And what they found out was, what they heard from the students, they said it is as if the teachers are pursuing their hobbies instead of teaching. And now I'm not studying for the teacher, but I'm studying for myself, my own development. And that was a huge compliment. And rounding it off, I say for the past 4 years, we started out in COVID period with 15 students and 9 teachers. And now I have a school starting next year with 125 students and 28 teachers, growing towards about 250 students. Also students, we found out that used to sit at home and did not go to school anymore. They come to school again because of Supreme College. That's my presentation.
We thank René. How interesting, isn't it? It's so challenging still, educationally.